a demonstration of how to assemble a frame and fit it with foundation. First of all, we've got the top bar, and we've got two side bars and two bottom bars. We need to insert a side bar into the top bar, taking the two ends there. We put the end with a one square cut out, and just ease it in. If they are too tight, often you'll find that these here need to be just slightly eased out. Don't force it in, otherwise you might actually split the wood. What I always do is just tap this in, just to make sure that it goes in securely, because you don't want any gaps down the side. The next thing is to take out, there's a wedge here, and we want to remove the wedge. Now I'm actually using a board which I've set up to take just the DN1 frame. I don't use Hoffman's, and I use it to square up with a template on here to square it all up. And it makes it easier, so I get it all level and square. The next thing to do is to remove this wedge, which is been machined but not all the way through. So take a Stanley knife and run it along there like that, keeping your fingers well out of the way, and off it comes. Maybe you have a little bit of material left which you can remove, and you also make sure that the base here is clean just by running your knife along there to clean it. The next operation is to take one of the bottom bars and insert it into the side opposite where the wedge was. So the wedge came out here, you want it to go in there, and that will actually stay in there the whole time, even if you change the wax. Next thing I want to do, I'm not going to put any nails in at this point. I'm now going to take the wax, and you'll see from the wax that it's got 3 loops at the bottom and 2 as you look at it now. That in fact will be the top of the wax, and the 3 are to hold the wax in and support it, because full of honey or syrup this can contain 5 pounds, and therefore it's very heavy, so we want it to be secure. So what we do is we bend those wires actually towards you, so that they can then slot them down into the slots, in the grooves, till it goes right to the bottom. Placing it down, making sure it's down at the bottom. Take your wedge, put it back in exactly the same way, not like that, but exactly the same way that it came out. These are often nailed incorrectly. Do not nail it down that way, but nail it through where the wire passes, so you can double check, and ever such a slight angle with a very light hammer, a 4-ounce hammer, and just hold it in tight and hammer that straight in. Again on this side, and make sure you hold this in tight. This is important because this is going to support the whole weight of this when it's been drawn and is perhaps full of stores. Then we put the last bottom bar in, and in this instance when we put it in we make sure we don't trap the wax, and the bottom bar must be level at this point, so I often just tap it like that to make sure everything's level. Now we can start most of the nailing, because we're going to put 11 nails in altogether. We've already put 3 in. Now we're going to nail straight. Do not nail that way, because we want the possibility of removing these, because you can reuse these frames. You might have to renew the wax, but you'll want to keep the frame. Now, holding the nail in very carefully with your thumb and forefinger, gently tap it, but keep it straight. If it starts to go off, stop, take it out and start again. because once it starts to go, you do not want it appearing down the side of there or down that side. It's got to go in straight. If you find it, this is the harder side, if you find it hard doing that, turn it round and do it the other way. Do whatever suits you until you get used to it. Then again, I make sure it's all straight. Now, let me just make sure this is flat so that you can, it's just got a slight wobble in it, so I can just twist it slightly to make sure that there we are, that lies flat before I put the nails in to hold the side bars. And you put one in each side. Turn it over that way. And a nail goes in there. You can, in the winter, make up your frames to a certain point without putting the wax in. Put the wax in when you actually need it. So there is a finished frame. And you double check that you've got 11 nails in before you finish and that it's all nice and flat. The flatter it is, the better, because the bees then will have a nice canvas on which to work.